Does positive thinking really work? If you think positively, are you prone to have more success? My personal perspective on this, on Agree or Disagree, the podcast. It is the controversial podcast that pushes you to think differently and connects you with your community. It is Agree or Disagree, the podcast. My name is Kevin Olenick. You can find me as a friend on Facebook, Kevin Olenick. Please like Agree or Disagree, the podcast on Facebook as well. Follow me on Twitter at KEVOLE. You can follow me on Instagram, KEVOLE, Soundcloud.com, KEVOLE, YouTube, Kevin Olenick. See my Patreon account as well at KEVOLE. And also you can find this podcast on Podbean. Find A or D, the podcast there as well. And Spreaker.com, KEVOLE. There's been a bit of a controversy this week with Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins, of course, is a motivational speaker. He has been a motivational speaker for years. And this week, he made a little bit of controversy because of his comments involving the Me Too movement and a confrontation that he had with a woman this week at a recent event that he had, and some of the things that he said. I don't really want to get into that specifically because I'm going to let the people that are impacted more by Me Too speak about this. But what happens when someone goes a little offside is we tend to find opportunities to critique the actual stuff that a person does. So as an example, if a talk show host makes an inappropriate comment, it's an opportunity for some to find room to critique what they are doing. If a coach makes a bad decision in a sporting event, we critique their coaching. If a player makes a bad move, we critique the player, etc., etc., etc. What also happened in this situation is it was an opportunity for some of the critics of Tony Robbins to come out and talk about his presentation, what he does, why he's relevant, and stuff. And there are certainly some people that are very much opposed to what Tony Robbins does, and you may be one of them. You may find what he does a bit snake oilsy, a bit shamanalist, a bit voodoo-ish, a bit ridiculous, and you don't understand why a guy like this is so relevant in our world. And there's other people out there that find that Tony Robbins is an effective speaker, and what he says and what he does, if you apply to your life, works. It's fit your style. You've been successful because of it. You've seen his approach, and it works. You find that taking a more positive approach to your life is more effective and more helpful for you. I'd like to take the time today to talk a little bit about my perspective about thinking positively. And this is, of course, something that you can agree or disagree with. And this is only my personal perspective and not yours. You may have your own. But I'd like to share with you my story. And from here, I will talk a little bit about where I come out on the positive thinking opportunity here. As you probably know, most of you know, I moved out here after working 8 years at SAIT, moved out to Vancouver to pursue a broadcasting career. And back in 2015, moved out here and have been out here for about 2.5 years. Have some bounces up and down along the way, but I've pursued my dream of broadcasting and graduated. Looking back on my 2017, as we've just completed, we're really in the first 3 months of 2018, and we'll get into that. But looking out to 2017, it was actually a rough year. I finished school in 2016 in October. And to be completely honest with you, based on the feedback that I was getting from a number of different people, I was fully expecting to land a radio job like a glove. I've been told countless times that I have a voice for radio, and I've applied for over 100 jobs. I did finally get a job at a local radio station here in Vancouver, and it was a board operator position, and it didn't work out. The final decision was it wasn't a fit. It sucked, to be honest with you. It was really rough. But it still happens, and it's the radio industry. Monday you could be hired, Tuesday you could be fired in some ways. It's a rough business. But that experience was a really good learning experience. After that, I did fully expect to be back in a job, air quote. That didn't happen. I applied for a number of different jobs. I've applied for over 200 jobs, and I haven't gotten to there yet. I was fortunate enough to act and to produce in a play in the summer called Jubilation with Solid Rock Theatre. But as the year went on, things got tougher and tougher. I had to spend a couple of times at a food bank. It was a struggle at one point to pay rent, but got through it. Needless to say, my mindset as the year of 2017 went on was in rough shape. I was getting more angry. I was getting more depressed. I was getting more frustrated with the things around. It was really discouraging and really lonely. In the back of my mind, though, I wasn't willing to give up. I knew there was a sense not to give up. I knew that. But it was still a feeling of anger, desperation, loneliness, and discouragement. But I grew more determined and was learning a little bit more. I was learning that more that wasn't necessarily an issue of my specific talent. People think I have a talent. I appreciate that people think I have some talent to be talking in front of a microphone. Thank you. But it's the fact that my promotional skills are where I'm one of the areas that I do need to work on and have worked on. I've lacked a lot of confidence in presenting myself in terms of my personality and who I am. And I've been working on that. But the other problem that I was also struggling, not only with the negativity, the anger, the discouragement, the mindset, is there was a feeling of bitterness and entitlement that also fit into this. I heard this person on the radio, and with this person could be on the radio, why can't I be on the radio? And it's a little bit belittling to someone that has also worked hard to get to where they are. Nobody on the radio is necessarily perfect. Everybody has their good days. Everyone has their bad days. And, just because you feel that you're better, in air quotes, than someone doesn't entitle you to anything. You still have to put in the work. You still need to put in the effort. And you still need to go out there and promote yourself. But it was becoming a little bit more of a victim mode inside. I was more willing to blame everyone else for my struggles than take ownership myself. But the fact, there's two facts that did come. I knew I could not give up, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. But I also knew that this wasn't working. My approach and how I was getting up out of bed in the morning was also not working. And yes, it was mostly out of struggle and anger and all of that. But it wasn't working. I was pushing through, but it wasn't working. So a good friend of mine and I had a look at my resume, and we did some revamping, and that helped. But I also had to examine my community. And to be honest with you, I wasn't really, at the end of 2017, with a lot of community. I was spending a lot of time by myself. Would go to movies by myself, do everything by myself. I wasn't really super social. But it was fortunate enough to, and by the way, like in physical contact, I was around social media and was chatting there and was trying to keep a positive time frame, in air quotes, but inwardly was struggling. And while connecting online, there was missing the physical connection, which is also important. I was fortunate in January to start connecting with some people that are like-minded. And when I say like-minded, people that are thinking about entrepreneurship, of starting their own business, getting into coaching or business coaching, writing a book, pursuing their dreams, feeling a little tired of the 9-to-5 mundaneness. There's a commercial on a radio station that I was thinking about that I hear is, "Your life is boring. Ours is not." Talking about that same, you get up, go to work. That's not necessarily what I necessarily want to do. I feel like I want to do more and pursue more, and I met people that are like that. And I've spent time around that. And those stories and where the struggles, the ups and the downs and the goals have helped me to be in a more positive or encouraging mindset. And it has helped me grow a lot. The energy of watching these people pursue their dreams, pursue their passions, pursue their goals, has helped me grow as a human being. And I've spent some time working with someone on some of the specific skills around my podcast. I've spent some time working on different goals in a mastermind group and a Monday coaching session, and meeting with someone every couple of weeks, and finding the people that really want to see you succeed. I heard that a couple of times this week. Someone come up and say, "I really want you to succeed." And those are powerful words to hear. I really want you to succeed on a personal level. And that energy, as I said, has helped me move forward. This year, I've joined Toastmasters, and I will keep posting as long as I go to Toastmasters about those experiences, but there are some really phenomenal speakers there that are doing amazing things. There's actually a competition that will be going on Wednesday about a speech competition, and I'm looking forward to watching that. I've had people come up, and when I do a presentation, a little bit of the table, they do what is called table topics, so you do a spontaneous speech. They ask you a question, and you do it, and I've got some really good feedback on things I need to work on, which is important, and more about who you are presented to be. And that's helped as well. So 2018, and I'm starting to see growth actually in 2018 as I continue here. I've seen more opportunities come my way than I did in the slumping years of 2017, where I just felt like I was banging things out and banging my head against the wall. I feel like there's actual progress now. There's opportunities being presented in front of me that I have to think about. Working with the podcast, working with other people on projects, and things like that. I'm also seeing some personal growth in the way that I present myself and confidence and things like that. Now, am I the greatest human being in the world? Absolutely not. Am I in the place that I need to be? Absolutely not. But I do believe that, and hanging around the type of people that want you to succeed and want me to succeed has helped me to grow as a person. Those people are positive. Now, when we start thinking about positive, I know that some of you, it's like, well, you're talking about, oh, if you believe this, then this will happen. That may or may not be true for some people. That's not necessarily been my case. I haven't been able to find a money tree that I sit and all I'm about and grow in front of me as we speak? No. But am I able to see some things in a different perspective because of conversations that I'm having with other people? Yes. It's not, to me, what I think the problem comes is when we talk about positive mindset, I feel that there's a couple of roadblocks that always come in the way. There should be something instant that happens, and if it doesn't, then obviously this doesn't work. And also, if you just put your mind to it, and if you just think it, it will happen. There's still the people that I'm talking to, the people that I'm working with, the people that are trying to get somewhere. Every single one of them have put in hard work to get where they are. They've had to take some sacrifices. They've had to take some opportunities. They've had to kind of scrap and claw to get where they are. It hasn't just fallen on their lap and they haven't just laid in the sun on the beach out here in Vancouver and it's just happened. It takes work. It takes effort. It takes networking. It takes decisions that sometimes are really tough to make when there's an easier decision to make. Should I be social Saturday night or should I write my book? What about that opportunity to spend 2 or 3 hours on Netflix when I could be doing something else? Things like that. Making those decisions that would get you necessarily, or you feel that you would get ahead, rather than making the easier and more comfortable decision. I do wonder if there's more people out there that wake up at 9 to 5 and live in a mundane sort of, or feeling of a mundane existence. If you love 9 to 5 and that's your thing, I'm not judging that. But I do wonder if there's some that feel a little bit of a mundane existence and don't know how to necessarily get out of it. And it's not necessarily that you have to quit your 9 to 5 job to have a positive mind frame. You can certainly have a positive mind frame and hang out with people in your 9 to 5 job and grow in that. I mean, I'm also meeting people that are trying to improve their marriage, improve their relationship, improve their relationships with relationships. So is it necessarily about thinking about how you think? And if you think it, it will happen, like some sort of magic bean? No, I don't see it that way. And I don't, if you think that Tony Robbins presents it or any other positive thinker presents it that way, that's your perspective. I don't see it that way. I don't see the snap that I'm doing here to become a success. But what I do see is hard work, good community, support, and all of those things that put people ahead. Look at people that are successful. I've been studying people that are successful. That's one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about. They just do things differently. It's just a different approach. It's just a different way. And sometimes they are looked on as nerds or weird or other things, but they just have done something different that the rest of us haven't to be where they are. And surrounded themselves with the right type of community to see who they are. And that's what I think is the most successful, where it comes, and that's where I think positive thinking works. Being positive about your community, being around people that are supportive of you, whether friends, family, your spouse, that natural stuff allows you to grow and be a better person and present, even in deepest and difficult of challenge, finding a way to look at a more positive, encouraging outlook as you go forward. What do you think? What is your experiences on being positive? Does it work with you or does it not? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know on Facebook. Find me as a friend at Facebook, Kevin Olenick. Like, again, agree or disagree the podcast on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter at KEVOLE, Soundcloud.com, KEVOLE, Spreaker.com, KEVOLE, Podbean at ARD the podcast. Subscribe on YouTube, Patreon, and Instagram at KEVOLE. Thanks for taking the time to listen. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. We will talk to you soon.